I'm lucky to say I have Glen Bonham with me. Welcome, sir.
You bet, Herb. Appreciate to be here. We're so glad to be here.
You were up on stage. You did a heck of a job.
Well, thank you.
I was listening to you, and I said to Leo, "He don't need a microphone."
That's what a lot of people say. They said I'm like a
there you go.
Ernest Tubb.
I was right, Leo. He don't need a microphone. Let's talk about your music, and we'll get into some of your history. You're part Indian.
Yes, I'm Choctaw Indian from Oklahoma.
It says Choctaw British.
Yeah. My dad was white.
Okay.
And so the rest of us, that makes us half.
Okay.
And we enjoy both of it.
Yeah, why not?
That's what got us into the bluegrass. Our dad, he was a fiddle player.
Do you? Well, before we get into any of your music, do you play all bluegrass? Did you go into the Native American stuff like that? How do you go
try to balance it out.
Okay.
We do a little bit of traditional stuff. Matter of fact, tonight we're going to do a song, "Amazing Grace," that I've got on one of my CDs.
Okay.
And I do a verse of it in Choctaw, and that was my first debut on the Grand Ole Opry in 1999.
You Can Be a Star.
Yeah, and we also won You Could Be a Star.
Yeah, you can. You were on Buck White with the on the Opry.
Yes, on the Opry with the White.
Yeah.
And been on there a few times other than that, but that was a special moment for me as a little kid growing up.
How did it feel? That had to be.
You know, I hear all these stars saying you can't explain it.
Yep.
I know why they say that now.
Now you know.
It is a feeling that it's overwhelming. I mean, I've had deaths in my families. I've been married. I've had kids and grandkids. There's not a feeling like being in that circle.
In that circle. I stood on it. Talking about someone that was here, we got a cold winter.
That's a CD I just put out last year.
Okay.
And it's got a few songs from off of my other album, but it's got a song on there that me and my granddaughter right here, Juliana.
Bring her in, Leo.
Juliana.
Let's bring Juliana.
And,
how are you today? Good. There you go.
She went with me on just about every show I go when school's out.
Well, by God, you can be on this show too.
You know, have you ever had one of those feelings where someone they never got to meet their grandparent growing up?
Yeah.
Well, I never got to meet my grandfather, and I used to ask my dad thousands of questions about what he was like. And one day we were walking down the road, and Juliana was asking me them same questions.
Wow.
And so it just kind of hit me. And I went back to the house and I sat down and I wrote down the questions she had asked. We turned it into a song called Grandpa.
Okay.
And we recorded it. It's on this new album
Number
here.
12.
Yes, and it's we get a lot of requests.
Did she record it with you?
No. She's never sang it with me, but we're going to try this weekend here.
There you
She's
go.
going to come up on stage and sing with me.
She knows the words?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's one of the originals on here.
Yeah,
that and Homeless. Mr. Homeless was an original for you.
That is a great original. I wish.
What's it about?
Serious. We were living in Nashville back in 91, 92, and I ran to Kmart one day, and there was a homeless man sitting on the corner, and I just pulled over, got out, walked over to him, started talking to him. I said, "Tell me a little bit about yourself," and he did. And he said, "I said, what's your name?" And he just shook his head and goes, "I can't remember." He said, "Everybody just called me Mr. Homeless."
Oh, man.
And man, I went back and wrote that down. And me and my wife, we wrote that song together called Mr. Homeless. It's a true story.
Now, how long did it take you to write that song?
In about an hour.
An hour. All the words came right out.
Right there, because of the feeling and what you heard and seen, just put a little music to it, and it came out right.
How did you pick the songs here? You got a lot of cover songs here. How did you pick the songs that you wanted to put on this CD? Shackles and Chains, and You Win Again, and $2 Bill, and Amazing Grace.
I guess growing up in the music industry and the music business, coming from a musical family.
Yes, you did.
My dad played country and bluegrass and old-time gospel. So whenever I got the chance to cut an album, I wanted to do all of those that I was able to learn growing up. And I like the old country.
Me too.
You know, it's heart and soul, and you can understand it.
Tell them it's the website where they can get this.
We can go on my Facebook, or you can go to ScenaRecords.com, SCENA, records all one word.com, and go under Bluegrass, and you can order any one of the CDs or the new DVD that's out.
Talk about that too. Yeah, we got it right here.
Right there, Scena Records.
Okay.
And, it's a good one. We recorded this live in Harrison, Arkansas last year, and really a good CD. It's got all the songs, DVD. And all the songs that's on here is on all these CDs, and we performed them live, so it's come out really good.
And what else do you have in your bundle of?
Well, I have, this was my first CD that I
How many years back did this go?
And this here is a picture of me from the show Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that.
And I got to be an actor on there and got to stay with them for 10 years.
How'd you meet him?
Chuck was my martial arts instructor.
There you go, in the Marines.
Years ago, back in the Marine Corps out in California.
Amazing.
And he taught civil defense, and then 10 years later, I'm back at home at a powwow dancing, and they were looking for Native Americans to be on the show. And I walked over to the CBS tent, and I asked them if I could get some information. Filled it out. Monday morning, they called me.
And that amazing.
Signed a contract, stayed with them for 10 years. Had a blast.
What else do you have here?
This one here is an essential bluegrass. Me and Ricky Skaggs, Larry Cordell, Paul Brewster, Blue Highway, and the Whites.
Yeah.
Very good album, and the label put that together, and really been a good CD.
All right.
And we've had fun with them all.
Nothing wrong with that. Born with tradition of music in his blood.
Yes.
How's that? That's a good line.
Yeah,
is that a true statement?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have another statement.
How old were you when you started to sing?
I was 9 years old. First song I ever sung was "How Great Thou Art." I sung it in our home church.
There it is.
And
that's not the original cut, is it?
No, no. Back then they said I sounded like the Chipmunks. But no, we do a "How Great Thou Art" a total different way. It's kind of a Bonham Brother type standard, doing our own ways, the type of stuff, so people will still recognize it. But we get a lot of requests for it. We'll be doing that this weekend.
Talk to me about being a role model for Native Americans. Keep bluegrass tradition, the road of Indian tradition at home.
Yeah, I'm an elder back home for some of the younger kids. Every tribe has an elder, and of course my elder passed away 5 years ago, and so I try to hand it down to my children and their friends. So I try to be an elder and a role model for them. I've always went around to schools speaking about drugs and alcohol.
I was just going to say, the school, you go talk about schools.
Yes,
go to schools
do
now.
a lot of schools.
What's the key to writing a good song? Relates to everybody, great instrumentation, or catchy lyrics? Or
all the above.
All the above.
All the above. I think it has to come from the heart. I like to write a song with something that I have experienced, or I heard someone experience it and it relates to me. That's kind of the way I kind of get my ideals for singing and writing a song.
Who was the first person to introduce you to songwriting?
Larry Cordell.
Larry Cordell?
Yes, Larry Cordell. Long time ago, way back before he done Highway 40 Blues for Ricky Skaggs. I had met Larry, and I seen some of the stuff he had done and heard it, and I thought, wow, and I got to learn to do that. And he showed me, and so did Sean Camp.
Yep.
Big writer for Garth Brooks and all them. He was a fiddle player in our band, and he inspired me to write too.
What changes have you seen in the industry since you started back in late 60s, early 70s?
Well, from the sound of bluegrass, it's gradually and picked up a little bit. I mean, you got to have changes a little bit.
Of course.
I like to keep that traditional thing there, but as far as the instrumentation, boy, these pickers at the age of 6, they're phenomenal.
I had them on the show already.
Yeah, and then plus to get on the radio, you have to do that because people won't play the old style bluegrass hardly anymore.
First generation they refer to it as.
There you go, right.
First generation.
So we try to stay in that trend too, and when you've been in it 41 years, boy, it is hard to break that habit.
Advice to somebody who wants to get started. What's their advice? After you put a lot of years in, with these young whippersnappers.
Yeah,
as
for
we
the
can
young
call them
kids.
now.
You bet, Herb. I think that the young kids have really got to get involved. We're losing them. I would love to see the young kids. That's why I take my grandkids with me. I want them to know what bluegrass is all about. It's a family environment. It's clean, and it's fun. And I think that the young kids, they need to really focus on what they want to do and take it and go as far as you can with it, but do it from the heart. It's got to be from the heart.